Alright, brush monkeys, welcome back. This week we're working on the 25th anniversary Dain Deepaxe from Reaper Bones. This is a metal mini of dwarf, looks like. Yeah. I got this as part of the, some of you may remember I did the Paint-A-Palooza a few months back in March. And this was part of the swag bag. But I had so many other videos to do and so many other minis to paint and things like that I'm just not getting around to it. So I wanted to go ahead and do this guy. And Reaper miniatures tend to have this little molded on base on their figures. I'm not a big fan of that, so I've got this 30mm base. It's not a whole lot bigger than his, but we're also going to do a bit of cork basing on that too. I've got some pieces of cork, and we'll add that to the base to give them a little more height. And of course, it's metal figure, so we got to break out all the tools for working with metal. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. I'm going to dig out the files here. I don't know what all I'm going to need on this guy. Yeah, that ought to do it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and rip this guy open. This is the part that I know is going to break some hearts, because I know people that collect minis, and there are people that just have walls of blister packs that they never even open, have no intention of opening. It's almost like collecting miniatures and painting miniatures are two entirely different hobbies. And so I know tearing open that blister pack is going to hurt some feelings. Especially with a 25th anniversary figure like that. But, you know, that's the way it goes. So, alright, let's take a look at this guy. He's, of course, white metal, obviously. He's got a little backpack on him. Let me zoom in here. Pretty nicely detailed. Metal miniatures usually are. I like that he's got little sockets in his arm for holding the... Here's the axe and shield. They're going to have to be cut off to stick on there. The boar on the shield is kind of cool. I like the boar. I mean, that's the emblem on my coat of arms as well. The thing that cracks me up about this is the position of his arm. Like if his arm is here and he's holding the shield up, then the boar is straight up and down and not like that, the way it's supposed to be. Now the way he's going to be on the figure, he's going to have the arm hanging down, so the boar is going to look right, but technically it's going to look wrong because it should look like this when his arm is up, right? But that's a minor heraldry squabble. It's got a couple little flash lines on there. Nothing too bad as far as the flash lines themselves. It's got a bunch of these little tags on there. Little tag there, little tag there. Having to cut it off that sprue part is going to be kind of a pain. This guy's got a couple little tags that are like right at where the arms are going to be stuck in, but obviously they're not that hard to remove, as I just kind of inadvertently removed one of them with my fingernail. But again, not terrible on the flash lines, just a lot of little flash tags, which isn't bad, and a lot of detail on there. Like you can see, he's got his little hammer and a knife, bedroll, his whole backpack, what looks like a little map case or something, belt pouch. Really well done sculpt. Got a little drinking horn here. So, I'm wondering, because he's got these details on his belt here and here, that maybe I shouldn't keep these parts on the sprue until I get ready to attach them to the body, because it kind of looks like I'm going to have to paint them on the sprue. Not entirely sure how that's going to cover things up. We'll cover it up a little bit. Not terrible. See that on this side. Possibly not. Yeah, okay. I may have to at least do the axe arm on the sprue, but we'll see about that. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and turn this off for now and get started cleaning this guy up, and then we'll take a look at what I'm going to do for his basing. Alright, see you soon. Bye. Alright, I'm back and I've got Dain pretty well cleaned up. I'm not going to remove his action shield from the sprue here for right now because I have to, I'm going to have to paint them while they're on the sprue, which I normally don't like doing because that makes it kind of difficult to put together, and it's difficult to zenithal prime it when you're trying to figure out, okay, here's where the arm is going to be, here's where the shield's going to be when I spray this guy. The other thing I changed up here was the 30mm base that I had him on, or that I had for him. I don't think is really going to give me a whole lot of room for basing, because it's not a whole lot bigger than his little metal base here. This one is one of the bases that comes with WizKids figures, and I'm normally not a huge fan of these bases because there's no bevel, there's not a whole lot of thickness to it, it's just a really thin piece of plastic. However, it's bigger than him, and I don't know that I need that much space. I'm really kind of struggling with this base here, because here's the 30mm base, and that's where it sits on them. The WizKids base is enormous, though. Let's try. There we go. Let's try a 40mm base from G-Dubs. Look at that. That's perfect. And yes, I fully realize I could have worked all this out before I started on the video, but I didn't, so deal with it. Anyway, this is quite a bit bigger base than you normally see dwarves on, because they're not big figures, so they don't need big bases. But what we're doing with this base is going to be, so, basing it with cork. And what I did was I got these natural cork tiles. I think I got these from Michael's. And it's just a pack of 4, and I don't know if you can see that or not, but I've used up like 1 1/4 of them, like not even halfway through the package yet, and this is still mostly all one sheet on this one. But all these little pieces that I break off of here, I keep in a tub, so I don't normally need to go to the full sheet to get my cork pieces. So I just kind of keep that under the workbench, keep it out of the way. And these cork pieces are great for simulating rock and things like that. That's kind of a big piece. So you just find a piece that you think is going to work for your figure. That one's not bad. You just kind of see how it fits versus the figure versus the rest of the base. Got the figure a couple of times. That one probably work better. Yeah, that was not ideal, but I think that one's going to work. It's still got a little bit of a straight edge on that side, so you can just dig in there and break it off. And I keep these little, even the pieces that I break off, I throw in there because you can use them as rubble. So there you go. That's about right. And I usually do this separate from the figure, so what we're going to do here is I'm using the super glue gel, which apparently has decided it's going to stay in the package. Bear with me a minute. Okay, we're just going to do this. Jill wants to be obstinate about it. We're going to be obstinate about it. Still going to lose because I'm meaner. So this is the Insta-Set that I normally use. I just spray a little bit on the base, rub some gel on the cork piece that I want to put on there, and then just kind of center it up and squash it on there. And that sets up instantly, hence the term Insta-Set. So we're going to let that sit there and dry. I'm going to go find the dwarf wherever I dropped him, and then we'll come back and glue him to the base too. Alright, see you soon. Bye. Alright, we're back, and we've got Dain glued to his cork base. And you can see that makes it a little bit bigger base, a little bit more interesting stuff going on. Now these little pieces that overlap the edge, you can go ahead and peel those off if you want. It's not necessary that it necessarily has to be right at the diameter of the base, but I like it to be just for neatness sake. So when I go to paint this little cork piece and the piece he's standing on are going to be painted like rock. You can actually get that on camera. Piece he's standing on, cork piece. These little pieces here, these little flats on there, are probably going to have some grass. I'll probably do some luster undergrowth texture paint on there, and then dry brush it with a little niblet green, and then maybe put some of those battlefield tufts on there. For these, I might use the battlefield tufts that conform to the that are different shapes. Get one that conform to the shape that fit in there. I will probably do a little bit of luster undergrowth on the tops of the rocks too, just for a little mossy effect, and then change it up, give it a little more interest. I might do another little tuft right here just because it's there. But for right now, he's got a little bit of glue still overlapped on the edges here. I'm going to take a break and let that finish drying, and then I'm going to come back and zenithal prime it. I'm not sure I need to zenithal prime on camera because I think you all know how that looks and how that goes. So I'm just going to do it and then come back with the finished figure and do the action shield while I've got it there. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and let that dry and then zenithal prime it, and I'll come back and we'll start painting. Alright, see you soon. Alright, brush monkeys, we're back, and we've got Dain Deepaxe here, all zenithal primed and based up and ready to go here. Got his axe and shield done up too. And I got the colors selected that I'm going to use for him. So I thought I'd run down what colors I'm going to use. Of course, I've got the contrast base Wraithbone for any touch-ups that may need to be done in between spaces. Bear with me here, I gotta get this glove off. Alright, so I've got Gullman Flesh for his skin. Got Flesh Hairs Red for his beard, which I'm then going to probably dry brush with Astrath Red and then Rise of Rust to bring it up to kind of an orangish red rather than blood red. I've got Snakebite Leather for all his leather bits. I've got Blackened Steel for his armor. Got Shabti Bone and Agrax Earthshade. And Tyrant Skull for his horns. I've got Balthazar Gold and Vallejo Old Gold for the gold bits on them. I've got Contrast Dark Angels Green for all his clothing. You can see a little bit of the cloth right up there, and I think that may be it. Oh, his bedroll and his shoulder bits there. And I think that'll make a nice contrast to his beard. I got Basilicum Gray for the stones on the base. Got Mornfang Brown and Steel Legion Drab for his boots. And I've got the Lustrian Undergrowth texture paint for the basing, which will be shade washed with the Agrax Earthshade and then dry brushed with Niblick Green. And I think that just about covers it. I think just about everything on him is going to be covered by one of those paints. So I think we're good to go. Bear with me a second. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take a break and start putting some base coats down, and then we'll come back when I've made some progress, alright? Alright, see you soon. Bye. Alright, brush monkeys, I've made some progress on this thing, got all the contrast paints done. You can see I've got the skin and the rim of the shield, and his leather glove there, and the handle of his axe. And then on this guy I've got the stone, his skin, his beard, his leather cloth bedroll and his shirt and all that. That's all done, and hoping I can zoom in on this because I'm actually really happy with how this turned out. I painted his eyes, which I normally don't do, and I've learned the secret to painting eyes. If you make them look into one side or the other, then you don't have to worry so much about getting it centered up. And if you mess up the centering, he kind of looks goofy, but if you just paint him to look into one side or the other, it looks just fine. So now I got him, when he's done, he'll have his axe on this side. He'll have his axe over on this side, his shield over on this side, and he'll kind of be looking over his shield at something he's going to whomp with the axe. So, anyway, with the exception of the eyes turning out so well, this has been kind of one of those days that nothing wants to cooperate with me, so I'm going to take a break and let those contrast paints finish drying, and then we'll come back and start hitting some of the metallics. And probably his boots too. His boots are the only leathers that I'm not painting with the contrast paints, and I put dryad bark out because I want to paint. He's got a little pickaxe back here on his belt, and I want to pick that out in I want to pick out the handle in dryad bark because I don't think it's going to work with the same wildwood contrast paint that I used on his axe handle. And I think the leather on his little dagger that he's got back here, I'm going to paint with the same colors that I do his boots in. So we will see about that. So yeah, I'm going to let those contrast paints dry, and then I'll come back and start it on the metallics. So we'll see you soon. Bye. Alright, I'm back, and I have finished the metals, and they're looking pretty good. Got a little gold bore on the shield there and his axe. It's all highlighted up. I also came across a few gems while I was painting, little gemstones. So I painted those green because I thought those made a good contrast with the steel and the gold and the red and everything else that he was. Green's a good spot color on this guy, I think. So now the metallics are all done, I am going to go ahead and start in on the leathers. And grab me one more color here for the base and base band. I'm going to use the Game Color, Vallejo Game Color Heavy Black Green for the, just down here around the base and the base band. And I'm probably going to end up putting them on a cork again here pretty soon. But yeah, for the most part, I'd say he's pretty well done. I'm going to do his boots and his leathers here, and then I'm going to glue them together. And and paint up the little spots like the base of his axe here, and this little nubbin on his shield where the sprue is still attached. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pause here and go do that, and then we'll come back and take a look at them. All right, see you soon. Bye. All right, brush monkeys, we've made some progress. I got the shield arm and the axe arm here cut off of the sprues and filed down and painted. Little stubs on there. I've got the base painted up green. I just need to put the texture paint on it, but I gotta wait for the green to dry, and just realized I missed a little spot here. Hang on. Right there. Okay, so once that dries, then we'll put the texture paint on there. I've got the leathers and the horns painted up. So his boots are all done and shade washed. His horns are all painted up and shade washed. Once that shade wash dries, I'll dry brush the tyrant skull on the horns there. And then I think I'm going to do the top of this rock here in green, just so I can put some texture on that too. That way the rock will only show through there, and what he's actually standing on will be stone too. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue his arms on. And then when I come back, I'll do the texture paint. So texture paint, shade wash, and gluing the tufts on are kind of like the only things left to do, and the horns. So I'm going to take a break now and paint the top of the rock here, and then glue his arms on. And when I come back, we'll dry brush the horns and apply the texture paint. Alright, see you soon. Bye. Alright, brush monkeys, I've got the arms glued on them and the top of the stone painted. And I'm not terribly happy with this sculpt. I don't know if you can see if I zoom in here a little bit. There is a gap between his upper arm and his lower arm where the arm is glued on there that is so huge. I'm starting to think that he doesn't actually have bare arms. I'm thinking that the upper part of that is actually a sleeve, because it's the same on the other side. There's a big gap, and then it doesn't color match, which is the other reason I don't like doing I don't like zenithal priming off of the, excuse me, I'm looking at the figure. I don't like zenithal priming on the sprue and not painting the figure assembled already. It never comes out right. So now I'm thinking that the little tabs on his shoulders here that I have painted green, I'm going to need to go back in and paint those steel, and that these parts here that now look like a short sleeve shirt, I'm going to need to go in and rebase those with the wraith bone and then paint them green. So both of those are going to have to wait until the glue dries. So yeah, not real. This dude just refuses to focus, doesn't he? There you go. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how he's coming out, but that I kind of wish I'd known that that was supposed to be a sleeve and that the arm wasn't supposed to line up, because it was really a pain to try to get it to glue on there. I think the biggest problem I had with this figure was that I could not find any reference pictures online. There's pictures of Dain Deepaxe, but they're all the Reaper Bones figure. They're not the metal ones, and they're not the 25th anniversary metal ones, which have a different pose to the arms. One of them's got his shield up a little bit. It's got a different design on the shield too, and the other one's got his axe held more out to the side than than he does here, and it's got a different shape to the axe too. So wasn't able to find any really helpful reference pictures. So I'm going to take a break and go scream into a pillow, because like I said, this is not one of those days it's cooperating with me at all. And then I'm going to come back and fix this as best I can. So I will see you in a bit. Bye. Alright, brush monkeys, we're back, and as you can see, I've got the sleeves painted and the shoulder parts painted up. What was green is now gold, and the sleeves on his shirt are now green. And I touched up a couple of the little things here and there, and textured his base, so he's all ready to go. Obviously that's still wet, so I am going to let that sit, take a break, and when I come back I will shade wash the base with the Agrax Earth Shade here, and then dry brush it with the Niblet Green, and then put them on a cork to do the base band with again the black green here, and then I think we're going to call this guy done. So it's been a long day, and he's coming along, so it's almost finished. So I'm going to go ahead and take a break and let that dry, and then we'll come back and wrap him up. Alright, see you soon. Bye. Alright, brush monkeys, I'm back. I've got Dain Deepaxe's base all dry brushed up. It's been shade washed and then dry brushed, and then I got the base band painted. It's still kind of wet in places, and I'm probably going to put another layer or two on there before I matte seal them. And then once I matte seal him, then I just have to glue the tufts on and he's done. So overall, he's mostly finished. It's not bad. I'm not, to be honest, I'm not terribly thrilled with this miniature. I like how the paint came out. The thing I'm mostly disappointed in is the sculpt. It's not, being a metal miniature, it's a lot less forgiving than plastic, and the arms being separated was kind of a problem. You know, I probably should have pinned the arms, and I probably should have dry fit the arms ahead of time. But if I dry fit the arms, that would have required cutting them off the sprue, and then I would have had to either paint them on the figure or find a way to paint them separately, or pin them and paint them that way, and then cut the pin down before I glue it to the figure. Had I done that, though, I would have been able to tell that the upper part of the arm was a sleeve and not the bare arm like I thought it was, and I think that would have saved me a lot of trouble. And I think the arms probably would have been a little stronger attachment to the body had I pinned them. I don't think they're on there terribly great, but yeah, it'll do. It happens. It happens. Sometimes you just come across a figure that's just not great. I think the resculpt of Dain Deepaxe in the Reaper Bones configuration looks a little better. I like this shield better. I like the bore on it better than the, I think the new one's got a heater shield type of design with some kind of weird tribal design on it, which is, you know, not really my thing. But overall, it's not a bad sculpt. It's just not what I'm used to. So I'm going to go ahead and pause and let that base band finish painting, or finish drying, and then I'm going to probably do another layer on it, and then I'll matte seal it, and then I'll glue the tufts on, so the next time you see this guy, he'll be completely done. Alright? Alright, see you soon. Bye. Alright, brush monkeys, so there he is, the 25th anniversary cast of Dain Deepaxe from Reaper Miniatures. He is all finished, and he looks pretty good. Like I said, it hasn't been one of the easiest casts to work with. It hasn't been one of my favorites, but I think it turned out pretty well. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going to call it a day on this edition, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hey Brush Monkeys, Tom from Flying Monkey Studios here. If you like what you see, click like down below. Click the subscribe button if you want to see more and want to be notified when new videos come out. Check out the links in the video description for links to our Patreon page and our Instagram, so you can see all the different ways that you can support me in doing what I do, and get your hands on some of these miniatures that I've painted if you want one of your own. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook if you want to see updates and see when new videos get posted. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks a lot. Bye.